Thanks for joining us, bro. Welcome
right.
to Into the Date. We're changing things around a little bit.
Got some colour today.
Got some color today. Yeah. But man, what a couple of months for you, bro. Charles.
Yeah.
You had your title fight you were defending a title in August.
Yeah, first defence in August. Yeah.
And then you got another one coming up.
Yeah. So this one's for a different title.
Yeah.
So.
What's the title are you going for?
So this one's WKBF, so the World Kickboxing Federation Australian title, slightly heavier, so 88.2 kilos.
And what do you normally fight at?
I normally fight at 86.5.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, being a fighter,
that
doesn't sound like much. But when you're cutting weight, it's just
of course, makes a difference. Yeah.
But that's why I'm excited.
Yeah. And I know you recently announced that, and that's when is it? November 2nd.
November 2nd. So
at St Mary's Band Club.
That's correct.
Yeah. And have you fought this guy before at all? Because
Yeah,
I saw something you were saying
Yeah.
you guys have met in the ring before.
No, we haven't. So about 18 months ago. So it was on War of the North Shore, and it was just I was saying to people, I worked this out the other day. I've had about 24 rounds in all my fights, and I reckon the only round I've lost is to this guy. So it was the second round of the fight, and he just caught me a couple of times. But it was one of those where I had to. Like I used to not like looking back on it because my ego was getting in the way. I was like, he caught me. But now I look back on it and I look at how I overcame like getting rocked a few times in the second round and came back out in the third and just pumped him. So it's gonna be a good fight though. Like he's a game opponent. But that's what I want now. I want tough fights where I challenge myself and I'm forced to level up, because what's the point of doing this if you're
not leveling up?
Exactly. That's the game.
Yeah. And so and this is for the WKBF, but you said it's obviously because it's a higher weight class, right? Is that why the title changes?
No, so the one before was a Massa.
Oh, right.
So Massa, so that's like Martial Arts Sports Association or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the WKBF, it's just different organisation. So, champ.
Yeah. And do you see yourself? Like where's your kind of mind and heart at in terms of going pro? Obviously that's in your is that something that you're kind of in the more near distant, or you just still got some goals you want to take as an amateur fighter in terms of, obviously different titles and etc. And then
look, I think like titles are all well and good, but I was like, when I got offered this guy, I was like, I took it before I knew there was any title, because I think it's like, once again, titles, they show that maybe you're at a certain level, but if you're fighting for a title against someone that you can easily beat, then what does that title actually mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, so
you saw a challenge, obviously,
exactly.
opponent that you felt like you needed to kind of overcome and
100%.
Right.
And it motivates me as well, because you've been in there with him before. You know it was a tough fight, so you want to be in your A game, and then you want to prove to yourself that how much you've improved over that time. So that's what excites me about it. Not so much like the title. So in terms of goals before turning pro, I think it's just to see after each fight where I'm tracking. Like if after this fight, like we're happy with where I am, then it might be okay, next fight should be pro.
Gotcha.
But if there's something where it's like, there's a few little things we want to sharpen up and try this out for the next one, maybe have another couple of amateur fights, see how that goes, and then turn pro. So,
and it's good, because I'm glad you touched on it as well, because I think a lot of people that just judge people on, oh, he's an amateur, he's a pro, don't realize what it takes to be a pro fighter, and why people do rack up a lot of amateur fights before they're ready to go to pro, because it's a whole different game. And I guess you don't have time for trying things, in the sense, you want to be sure of yourself, I guess, and not saying you're not sure of yourself, but you know what I mean? It's just good so people get an understanding that, just because someone's going pro, it's just not a matter of, I'm going to go pro. It's a lot more work that goes into it before you kind of make that decision for yourself, right? So
that's it. And you want to, when you turn pro, you want to be able to explode onto the scene. And like I've always said, and I think people that are around me that train with me, my coaches, know that like I prepare for every fight like I'm fighting for a world title, like a professional world title. Because my mentality with that is that by the time I get to that stage, I don't want it to be I'm doing all these new things when I'm fighting for a professional world title. I want to know that every single fight I've had, I've prepared in that professional way, where I've got my mindset on lock, I've got all the little details down, So that when it comes to it, I've done that 20, 30 times already, and it's just clockwork, and I can just keep on focusing on leveling
just
up.
that work ethic.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess you want to have a solid foundation to springboard over each time.
Yeah,
instead
exactly.
of, there's certain things that you don't want to kind of figure out or be like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? You want it concrete.
Exactly.
The
game,
so that the foundation, lays the foundation for you to kind of springboard into what you're doing.
Yeah.
Talk about your last fight, man. Obviously, I was there. How was the feeling, man? It was. I always, in the crowd, turn it into a main event. Obviously, but what was it like going into that fight, and what was it like? Tell me a bit about the experience of being in the ring and just the crowd, and there's a bit of a fan base there for you, your friends and family, and people slowly, following you through to. I mean, your last fight was in Central Coast, so there was a few people in terms of support that drove down and saw that fight. So tell me a bit about that experience, man.
Yeah, so it was. So I mean, going into it, we'd gone into it and we just said that we'd fought a few people in New South Wales, so we wanted someone from either interstate or from New Zealand potentially. So this promoter, Tim Drury, was keen to get us back on the show because we'd been, we brought a big crowd for the last one as well, which was on the Central Coast when we fought there in March. So we just told him what we wanted. He came back with a name. The guy had a good record. Like, I looked him up, couldn't really find too much on it, and I just thought, okay, we'll take the fight. So like I said, I don't focus too much on the opponent. I just try and focus on myself, just improving, training hard, getting good sparring in. But the fight, I didn't know what to expect from him. Like, I knew every fighter is normally going to be shorter than me. So I know my game, and it's no secret, I'm not giving away any secrets here, is my game is I'm going to try and keep range. So I always know they're going to come in and try and pressure hard. But it was clear from the face off and from as soon as I walked in there that this guy, like he was trying to psych himself up. So I knew that he was going to come out swinging. But and he tried to turn it into a brawl. I think it took me by surprise a bit at first, and then I just got my focus, and then just started picking him off. And then
threw some beautiful knees in.
No secret as well. Like knees. But I think I dropped him at the end of the first, and I think I landed a real, like he rushed me at the start, and then we sort of separated. Then he tried to rush me again, and I think like the third strike I threw in that exchange was just like a left knee straight to the ribs, and I could just see straight away like his face changed, I could just tell he'd never felt like that sort of like coming onto each other.
It's a foreign feeling.
And you can always tell on the face, and he just sort of backed up a little bit. At that point, I was like, okay, gotcha. And then I didn't want to rush it. I just wanted to, just like, and also people are driven up a long way. Like I can't, you can't finish it in 20 seconds. So I gave him a good 2 rounds. I think I dropped him about 3 or 4 times in the second.
I think it was after the second time you dropped him, and I looked over to Nisha, and for those who don't know, my wife comes and watches fights with me. I looked over and I said, I don't think he's going to be in there for long. But then it's funny you mentioned something because you pulled back the brakes a little bit on it, and I felt like if you did, but obviously we never spoke after. But now that you're saying, you obviously wanted to, I guess, toy with him for a little bit longer, but I saw it and I thought, oh man, he's not gonna, you know what I mean? You could just see it. You could just see the energy shift as well, and the body language, and it wasn't too long after that. I was thinking, a couple more really good shots, and I think he's not gonna get up. So
but like props to him, like he did keep on getting up. And like I was like, and I think the one you're talking about was, there was one where I kneed him a couple of times, and I sort of. It looks like I push him, but I could just feel I could feel his energy going that way. So I sort of just matadored him and stepped aside, and and he sort of went face first down.
Because I think it was a moment. It was on it was on the opposite corner that he fell, and when he dropped, and the body language was like he didn't seem like he was eager to get up. And it's not to put him down. It's not to. It was just the energy wasn't there to be like get up and go again kind of thing. So at that point, I felt like wow, it's like he's got this if he puts his head down and finishes the job. So. But it was amazing. There was a good atmosphere, and it's fun. It's always fun, I guess, following people around, especially out of the norm of where you normally go to watch fights, you know, a different environment as well. But it was a good experience, and
I think it was cool as well because I think obviously I fought there in March, and I noticed that a lot of the locals sort of had come down to watch and support as well, which is great. I felt like that was I felt like, you know, good little ego boost. Like obviously they enjoyed the last time, so they wanted to come again.
Because a lot of them, I don't think a lot of them knew you, but they were all in on the Charlie chant. So you know, and then some of them you could just tell started yelling it for the sake of it. You know, obviously the rest of the Joyner army, were going off constantly. So I saw a couple of them, obviously because I was with a couple of guys. I felt like that you didn't really know them, but they were there for the fights, and they just jumped on board from the get-go, you know, when the chant started. So it was just funny. It was funny, just, you know, kind of being there and, you know, seeing random people kind of jump on board as well. So it's good, man. But that's what you got to do, you know. You want to create. You don't want it to just be your friends and family. You want it to be, you know, people that are fight fans or people that enjoy coming and watching fights. To make, you know, make an effort to come down. You know, that's kind of the conversation I was having with someone yesterday, saying like, even with promotions, you want to go outside of just selling, you know, your tickets or getting people from your kind of, you know, your inner circle, and you want to start pushing it to people where they're willing to travel from 10, 15 Ks out to a location because they're just purely fight fans or want to come see good fights, you know, and so it's good, man. It just, you know,
and that's how it builds. Like it's like, I always think like sometimes it's like a big stretch to look at, you know, like big famous fighters that have a big fan base, but everyone starts from the same point as a fighter, and it slowly builds. So
start fighting in pubs and then on the streets, and then you eventually like, I'm gonna go and fight in a ring. But I know what you mean. It's got to start somewhere. You know what I mean? And I think we need to establish something at ground level in order for us to appreciate it when it gets to something like, you know. A higher level organization, you know, if you're thinking MMA, you know, whether it's UFC, whatever. But the beauty is, man, I've been seeing some organizations like, especially in Sydney, that I'm really excited to see where they go with it, you know. I think there's obviously MMA Super Fight. I really like the way that they promoting their stuff, and you know, you got
Urban Fight Nights coming
up. You got Urban Fight Night. That was another one that I mentioned as well. I thought, you know, I like how that's coming about, and you know, with boxing you got you know, Neutral Corner Promotions as well, and you know, so it's, you know, I think it's just important for everyone to work together and find a way to help grow the sport, you know, so that not just people that know about it or people that know that are part of the organization or promotion, or people that just know people that are fighting turn up. It's fans from anywhere that turn up, you know, and that's how you can get demand for bigger places and more seatings and etc. And slowly we'll just keep growing.
It's like anything that's gradual, isn't it? But we're seeing that growth for sure now.
Like of course. And what's your training like, man? What's your Monday to Sundays like?
So like I said, like I train a lot. I think people are surprised at sort of still being an amateur how much I train. I mean, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll get 2 sessions in. So that'll be strength conditioning and kickboxing. Also mixed in, I do boxing privates as well, just to sharpen up the hands. Tuesday and Thursday I'll do 3 sessions. So there'll be strength and conditioning, some conditioning sessions. I'll try and get some sparring in, pads in. Like I try and stay flexible because obviously, you know what it's like with. There's so many moving parts of different people to train with, different people to spar with, that sometimes, you know, you might want to get your rounds in on a Wednesday because you want to spar with this particular person. Or you're going to do your pads on it, so then you got to change up all your other training so that you're not burning the candle at both ends and training, you know, doing 2 hard sessions in a day. You got to mix them up and spread them out. And then Saturday I'll have like a bit more of a sleep in, and then just do one last sort of hard spar, and then depending how I feel, like sometimes I'll do a little bit more on Saturday, like I'll go for a run or something, and then Sunday's just pure recovery.
And how's that been working for you in terms of just, you know, preparing you and stuff? Like
it's a constant learning curve, because I mean, like this, so about a year and a half ago I'd say I was probably overtraining. So I was actually probably doing the same amount of sessions, but every session I was doing was 100%. So it'd get to sort of Wednesday, and I'd just be hating it. You know, and it's something that I love so much, but then I'm hating it because I'm just working my body too much. And there's all there's all discussion about, you know, you see like David Goggins going on about like, you got to grind through and push, and you're listening to all stuff like that. Oh, I just got to push through. But then you get injured or you get sick and you can't train.
You got to be smart as well. Yeah, you got to be smart as well. I mean, you know, I know they have they speak about like you know, anxiety training, and it's not that you have anxiety, it's just the want to be good and the want to be great can sometimes be detrimental, because if you don't plan it out right, your body's just gonna crash, you know, and then you're not doing anyone favors, you know, and then negativity creeps in, and that's the worst thing you can have, you know. So sometimes I think you just got to trust the process and know that, you know, you're going about it the right way. And
I think that's just a learning.
But that's something, like you said, bro, you just develop it over time, you know. And what's your diet like? You still a vegan? Or?
Yeah, still vegan. Still in that vegan.
Look at that guy. He's like 8 foot. He's a vegan, so don't worry. How's that? So what's your diet like during the week? Number one, and number two, are you specifically, do you get your diets, or do you kind of follow your own dietary plan?
So this year, one of the changes I ended up going vegan last year, and it was just one of those decisions I made because I hadn't been having dairy for a while because I just felt I couldn't digest it well, so I cut that out. And then same with when I was having meat, especially, I just felt like it was just sitting in my stomach too much. So I'd have to like eat like 3 or 4 hours before a session before it goes down. So I thought, I'm gonna try it vegan, see how I feel. And for me, it just worked really well. I just felt like I had more energy. Just felt, you know, sleep was better, recovery was a bit better. I'm not saying this for everyone, but for me it worked well. But I was sort of just doing it myself, but I felt like the weight cuts, like I wasn't doing it a smart way. I was just limiting my intake, which was affecting my training. So
was this prior to you going vegan?
No, this was while I was still vegan. So although I did feel better, I still wasn't doing it in a smart way.
Smart way, gotcha. Yeah.
So this year I decided to get a nutritionist on board, and so I'm with the fight dietitian.
Yeah, Jordan Sullivan.
Yeah. Good man.
Shout out to Jordan.
Yeah, just had a busy week.
Yeah. We were actually meant to sit down and have a podcast. When he came in to check up on some of the guys last 2 weeks ago, and we couldn't get it in, but shout out, he hit me up. We spoke about 4 months ago, and I said, look, I want to really sit down with you and have a chat, and then he remembered and hit me up, so it meant a lot. And it's just, you know how it is with busy, it's just hard. So we couldn't get it in. We were meant to get it in that morning, but he was staying in like an Airbnb with other people, so it would have just been too noisy to be able to carry it. So we'll be sitting down and chatting soon. I'm excited to talk to him because he's got a lot of amazing clients as well. I'm pretty sure Israel's one of his clients, or
not sure, but I don't think he was for this one. Okay. I think he has like Dan Hooker. Yeah, Ty. He's got Tyson. Kai Kara France.
A lot of the MMA guys in Australia, right? Definitely. Pro fighters.
There's so many, and that's the thing that always blows me away with him, is that although he's so busy, and even during this week he's so busy, you send him a message about, you know, like I'm 4 weeks out from a fight. And you send him a message about your diet plan, and he'll get back to you, you know, as soon as possible with some valuable insight into what you can change or what you can do. So, and the amount of research he does into, you know, safe weight cutting practices, fueling your body correctly. So that's been a big difference, because when it comes to the weight cut now, like it's just a breeze. And then I come in like feeling the next day filled with energy. So
that's probably why he's quite popular. People go to him. I mean, I've actually followed one of his diet plans. It was for my boxing fight actually. So he helped Rick out, and so then I was obviously cutting down to 69.
Did the sneaky.
Did the sneaky, and you know, because obviously Rick's like, try this and try that. And Jordan actually hit me up when he saw me holding hitting pads with Rick, and he asked me, you know, you all like, you know, what's your kind of say? I said, no, man, I'm just fighting for fun. but it was amazing. Yeah. Some people do. Yeah. Who knows, man? In 5 years, I might be like, oh, screw it, I'm bored. Let's do this. There'll be a seniors competition.
But there's masters.
Yeah, there's masters.
I'm pretty sure there is.
But it worked a treat, man.
Yeah,
it worked a treat, and I know he's well respected, and I know that I think he got his accreditation from Lockhart and Leaf as well. Because I remember that was one of the reasons why. Because I remember that was one of the reasons why I got in touch with him. And actually, how I know as well, because I told Rick about Lockhart and Leaf, and he found Jordan, and he said Jordan was accredited to Lockhart and Leaf. That's just from that conversation, but I'm pretty sure anyway. But shout out to Jordan. So tell me about the diet, man. So how's that improving? You know, what's kind of the difference from what you were doing before to now following something, you know, I guess tailor-made for you, and suited for your training?
I mean, obviously there's a little bit more preparation that has to go into it, so you got to make that sacrifice. You know, some days sometimes become about meal prep, but I'm lucky as well that my mum's a good cook and she likes to help out as well when she can. But look, it's just knowing now, learning how to fuel your body correctly. That's what I feel. So the focus now isn't on actually trying to lose the weight, which is what like a lot of fighters end up stressing about over that 8-week camp.
That's a stigma they have around weight cutting.
So now it's like just having that faith that I follow this plan. I'm gonna have good energy and my weight's gonna get there. I think that's the main thing. Just taking out another aspect of. And look, I heard this thing the other day. I think it was Will Smith that said it. He said that you're doing a disservice to the world if you're not world class at something and you're trying to do that, and it's taking away from doing something else that you're world class at. So for me, I feel like if I'm not now, I'm going to be world class at fighting. So if worrying about my weight and trying to get my weight down is taking away from me being world class at fighting, and also it's taking away like a job from someone that's world class at worrying about weight and nutrition, then I'm doing a disservice to both those people.
Of course.
So by doing this, by hiring Jordan Services, he's world class at that, and then I can focus on what I want to be world class on. You know, so.
And I guess you want to, I know we briefly spoke about this before we jumped on the podcast, but it's about trying to take away as much things you don't have to worry about, you know what I mean? And that's something, if you can have a plan. I mean, one of the things I noticed about it as well from what people told me was that it's the timing of when you eat. You know, and that's what I noticed. It's not so much the lack of eating, it's eating at the right time when your body needs it. And as long as you do that, you find that you strip in weight and at the same time you're feeling your body with what it needs based on obviously your training regime and whatnot.
You can't know that without years of, and the level that they're doing it, like the fight dietitian and that whole team, the level they're doing it takes a lot of research, and so like who am I to then sit down and do that research? You know, you did
a couple of Google research about weight cutting, you know what I mean?
I've had some shocking ones, like one where it told me to eat 1 kilogram of carbs after my weigh-in. I went into the fight feeling like I was going to throw up because I'd just been shoving carbs in.
100% the worst thing to do.
It's just some article I read and I was like, oh, that's what this will work.
That's why there's professionals there. And I guess, at the end of the day, if you have aspirations of fighting at the highest level, it's not just training that matters. It's everything else. It's your diet. It's a lot of aspects. So you want to have those avenues covered
before
you get to exactly, because like we're talking earlier, you don't have time to figure these things out. You need to know. You can trust the process. You know what's coming. When the D dot comes, okay, this is what I got to do. Get ready to do this and blah blah blah, and it's all the steps. So so did Jordan jump on board for this previous fight? Did you have him before that?
I had him for the one in March as well. So I had him pretty much from the start of the year. So from about February.
And what's kind of your I guess instead of thinking too far about it, what's kind of your journey been this far? When you look back, I mean, I remember, for those that don't know, like me and Charles have actually known each other a long time, and I think when you join
Been through
kickboxing,
the trenches.
yeah, we've actually trained together, and
Yeah.
and I think when you started, I was just leaving
Yeah.
Evolution
Yeah.
Gym. Yeah. So what's kind of, when you look back, man, what do you kind of, what resonates with you now? Like, I mean, it's not something that you had ambitions for, I'm assuming, growing up, but it's something that you found along the way, and then it's kind of, you know, it's now you're all in.
Yeah. No, you're definitely all in now. But yeah, so the journey, I mean, like the whole journey, like I'm not I guess like the typical fighter story, you know, that rags to riches where you live through hardship, whatever. Like, no, my life was pretty comfortable. You know, I was at uni doing a degree, like a pretty good degree, but there was no, like, I just had no passion for it. And I used to go to uni and I'd just be sitting there doing, like, and I'd work hard at uni because I feel like I've always got a good work ethic with what I do. But I was working hard and I was putting this time in, and I was just thinking, oh, there's got to be more than this. Like, why? Like, I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. Like, why am I doing something that I can't wait to not be doing, and then just go back and do it? Do you know what I mean? Like, that cycle of it, and
it's painful.
Yeah. So I think I was looking for something else, whether that was consciously or subconsciously, whatever. And it was all around the time of Conor McGregor going for his big come up. And it was around that Aldo fight, so I'm a complete bandwagoner, complete McGregor bandwagoner. But I remember just being in a pub in Manly, because I was working in Manly at the time.
Yeah.
And it was for that fight, and I was watching, and there were loads of Brazilians in there, and then, you know, Manly, it's like pretty international, a lot of travellers. Anyway, so obviously they were sporting Aldo, and then when McGregor just the whole build up to him, and just the way he carried himself, and the clear effect he had on Aldo, and then when he finished him in the 13 seconds, and just to see how everyone in that room reacted, like, I'd never seen sport do that, like, and I've always been into sport my whole life, and I'd never seen it do that. So I just thought, and whether it was subconsciously or consciously, I just thought, I'll just give it a try, and there was never any aspiration of being like, oh, I'm going to give this a try to then be world champion or to then be the great. No, it was just, that'd be cool to do, give it a try. Started doing it, enjoyed it, sort of, I don't know, opened up something in me. It felt like a bit of therapy. Like, after a session, you just feel great, looking forward to going. Just started sparring. Like, I've got long legs, so I mean, kickboxing very well. Like, I wasn't getting hit much, and I could keep people back, so I was like, I felt pretty good doing it.
You're gifted.
Daddy long legs. There's natural gifts. But yeah, and then it just sort of grew from there. And then I remember, so before I'd even had my first fight, I'd still been having these thoughts of, look, I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. And I was thinking, I remember just thinking, I was sitting watching, like, you know, the UFC Embedded, and all just watching loads of different fight things, and I was watching the lifestyle the fighters have, and how they, although they're doing something that's clearly, for someone that hasn't done it before, so scary, they just look like they were loving every second of it. And I was thinking, like, and I was just thinking, what am I passionate about? Like, this is what I'm passionate about at the moment. I was having a bit of time thinking, like, would this be something that I'd want to do with the rest of my life, or for a, you know, dedicate most of my time to now? And I thought, I mean, why not? So I remember I spoke to Adrian, my coach at Evolution Gym, and I just said to him, and keep in mind, like, this is a person that's been training for 6 months, had a few sparring sessions, and I was like, bro, I think what I want to do is, like, become a professional fighter. And he's like, and no hesitation, no doubt in him, he just said, yeah, let's do it straight away. Just had that belief straight away. How many other people would you possibly go to, and they're going to tell you every reason why you can't do that? And I had people that were telling me that. I had plenty of people telling me why you can't do this, why you can't do that. But because I believed in myself, and because Adrian believed in me, that I felt like that's all I needed. So just one thing, just kept working hard. And like I said, straight away, when I knew this is what I wanted to do, whatever fight I'd have, whether it was against someone that I knew I was going to beat, or someone that, you know, your first ever fight, it's just like in a gym, you know, like just like a development day, whatever it is, I'd train for that and have the mindset that that was like a world championship fight. So I was constantly like honing this craft. And just one thing led to another, man. Like, I just kept working hard, obviously kept winning fights. And don't get me wrong, there were hard times in between. Like, you'd always be second guessing yourself, like, is you know, like I've got this degree where I could, you know, I could live a comfortable life, do the normal thing, not much risk involved in it, just go and do that, make a fair bit of money, and that's fine. But then I sit and think about it, like, no, I'd absolutely hate life. And what's life without passion?
Yeah, of course.
It's a death sentence.
It's always harder to follow the unknown, you know. At least with your degree, you can see where you're gonna end up, and I think because you can see where you're gonna end up, you can make a judgment call on whether it's for you or not.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? With this, it's the unknown, but all you know is how it makes you feel. All you know is I gotta turn up every day. I don't know what next year holds. I don't know what the year after holds, but for some people that's the most exciting fucking thing to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, you know, 100%. And I think some people are just built that way. It's not that it's not to say that people that don't are any less. It's just that I think some people genuinely are strong about that and have that ideology and have that vision in them, and I think it's a waste if you just throw it away because the easier route is the normal route where you can pick exactly how your life is going and where it's going to end up. You know, it's like I always tell, some people are more comfortable being in a hole than outside the hole, because outside the hole there's this big world waiting for you, and you don't know. We're in a hole, you know that you know your walls, you know your space,
you can touch things,
you can tell, you know, so you know okay, I know what it's like to be in the shit, you know what I mean? But when you're out, when you're confident and positive and thinking I'm gonna do this, that's fucking scary, even to just say it for yourself, let alone someone else hearing you saying it. If they can't resonate with it or whatever, they're like, man, you're fucking crazy, you know what I mean? And you know, there was an interesting video that I put up not long ago. It was the rapper T.I. and he was talking about, someone asked him, like, what's one of the things that you did that was, I guess, you know, that you shouldn't do and that you did it earlier in your career? And he goes, especially with creative people, artsy people, and that doesn't necessarily mean arts, I mean just in general with what you're doing, anyone that's got ambition, he goes, you know, it sticks in your stomach and you can feel it in your stomach. You know, your body is telling you exactly how whatever it is that you're thinking about makes you feel. When you have ideas or when you feel like you're confident in what you're trying to do, your body responds to how you're feeling. And you get this gut feeling, and he goes, the one thing you got to do is you got to act on that gut feeling. Because but what he did was, when he had that feeling, he went and told someone about it, and they're like, dude, how the fuck are you gonna do that? You know what I mean? And so you go back and you're thinking, how the fuck am I gonna do that? And he wasted time, and because he didn't act on it. He goes, one of the advices that he gave was act on how you're feeling, because nothing else is going to be more clear than your body and your mind ringing alarms when you know, it's like a spidey senses, you know, when you see something you love, your body tells you, like, you get attracted to it, it does things to you, you know what I mean? And he was saying, if they knew what I was thinking, then he goes, I ain't thinking shit, because they know what I'm thinking, you know what I mean? So, you know, I found it really interesting, you know, and he, you know, because it's true, and sometimes you got to, you know, probably posing to my next question, like, what do you do for, I guess, to, you know, for inspiration and to keep you level-headed, and in terms of, you know, always keeping your eyes on the goal, you know, on your goals and what you're trying to do. What are some of the things outside of training that you do that kind of just keeps you, you know, I guess, level-headed and inspired?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's changed over time, like, I think. I don't know, like, at first that inspiration sort of, I don't know, you it's almost like you want to prove people wrong a little bit at first. But I think I don't rely on that now, because I think that's more the ego talking now, like wanting to prove people wrong.
Everyone begins like that. Everyone begins. I mean, that's the first thing that fuels you. It's because when you do something, you can almost you can feel the doubters, you know.
And you're just
and
like,
then, all right, I'll fucking show you. You know?
100%.
But then, like you said, go on. Over time, you just
and that feels good, but it doesn't last long. Like, you can't. It's not sustainable. So now, what, I don't even know. Like, I feel like I've drilled it in so much now. Look, I think the mindset that you've got to have is, and people always mistake this for arrogance but it's the mindset that you've got to, for whatever your goal is, you've got to believe that you already are that person. So what's the goal that I've set? One is to be a world champion. That was one recently that I've set, is that I want to be considered the greatest of all time. You know, because what's the point in making these small goals? So I know for myself that making already unattainable goals has accelerated me further than I thought was possible. So I'm going to set these massive goals, aim for that. So now my mindset's got to be, what would the greatest of all time do in this situation? You know, so when things get tough, especially like with conditioning sessions or sparring sessions, I just have that thought in my head. It's, you know, like greatest of all time. Like what would they do? What would the greatest of all time do in this situation? They'd push through and they wouldn't give up. They wouldn't make an excuse, or they'd do those extra rounds. And it might sound cliche, but I think that's the reality of it. Because if you're humble, you can give yourself a way out. You know, if you can be humble on the outside for sure. And when I say humble, I mean like be respectful to people. Like I'm not going around like trying to be like, oh, I'm better than you. Like,
you can be both.
This.
100%. You can be both.
You can be the Buddha meditating. You can be the warrior fighting. You can be both. So my mindset now is it's just holding that, like trying to hold a standard of what I want to be, and trying to live my life to that standard. And then it's also taking inspiration from people that have already been there. So like I watched like a lot of Muhammad Ali, Conor McGregor, not so much recently, but
we don't want to be going back.
Like something like, I mean, his mindset, his mindset, like he's got some great things in there.
It doesn't take away. It doesn't take away. You know, it doesn't take away from the fact that, you know, who he is in terms of just his method of thinking and you can't take away what and
it shows, like that's why he's got to where he is.
100%.
He's just had a few little hiccups recently, but you know, he's aware of those. Another one at the moment is Adesanya, and I think his mindset, I love listening to him speak, because I feel I really resonate with what he talks about, and sort of that. And look, a lot of people call him cocky, a lot of people call him arrogant, but he doesn't care.
He's the middleweight champion of the world now, so fuck what anyone else thinks, right?
And he believed that he would be that before anyone else did, and people would have called him crazy. So I think that's honestly the mindset you've got to have, and if you have that mindset, even when bad things happen to you, you can just think, no, well, this is what I need on my journey to push me to that place.
100%.
So, you know, you're not reacting to the ups and the downs, and because once again as well, what you'll see a lot of people do is, if they don't have these massive goals, they reach their goal. So maybe my goal is to become Australian champion. Look, that was a small goal that I had, but it wasn't the end goal. But if that was the end goal, then what do you do after that?
And then what do I do now?
What do I do? It's so, that's how I stay inspired, by setting these massively, what would seem like unattainable goals to people on the outside, and then believe wholeheartedly in myself that I'm going to achieve that, and I'm going to live my life in the way that person would. And even if you don't get there, how much further along are you going to be because you've climbed to that point?
Well, I guess by what you're doing, and a lot of people are doing, is if you set the bar so high, you're asking more of yourself as well.
Exactly.
You know, and if you're not a dribbler talking shit and you're dead serious about it, then even if you fall short, right? Falling short is going to be 100 times more higher than what you ever expected to be, let alone anyone else expected. You know what I mean? So I think you've got to set your bar high, but at the same time, if you hold yourself accountable, you know that's naturally going to ask a lot more of you to be able to obtain what you're trying to push towards. You know what I mean? And
it's interesting what you said about that, actually, like the talking shit aspect of it, because there's a lot of people that say they're going to do certain things but never put the actions in it. So the important thing is the setting the goal, but then living your life 100%. Like that person would, because if you're doing that, then essentially you already are that person. Do you know what I mean? You've already become the person that you set out to be, because you're living your life in the way that person would. So,
but I mean, even when you were saying earlier about when you first fight and people talking shit, like, it's funny because after a point, it's irrelevant. You realize it's irrelevant what anyone's got to say, because
you get your force field.
You got too much shit. You know what I mean? You're thinking, I'm trying to. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking
up here. And you're like, I don't have time to turn around and address every hater, or and put my energy into something that person would not even know. You know what I mean?
They can't. And you almost feel you can't blame them. I'm sorry for cutting them, but you can't blame them, because you feel like they can't comprehend where your mindset is at.
People fear what they don't understand, right? And you know, it's not to fear in terms of scared. It's just that how can anyone understand it? Because you know, and that's the thing. It shouldn't be like that. Everyone shouldn't be understanding it. So you should sit here and just appreciate when you see something great happening. Just appreciate that there's a lot of work that's going into it, just like anything else, you know. But eventually, like, and it's funny because people come out and say, oh, you know, it doesn't matter what anyone, you know, blah, blah, blah. But it's funny because it's not as easy as said and done for a lot of people. Like you know, a lot of people stutter or stop from being able to overcome a certain hurdle because of these irrelevant things that are around, you know, that seem irrelevant, you know, whether it's people watching, people saying you can't do anything or not getting the support, or you know what I mean? But once you block that out, you start to see there's a whole bunch of people there waiting for someone to be able to rise to the occasion so they can get behind them and support them and be like, you know, wow, like this is someone we can get behind, you know what I mean? And I think it's all just it's a mindset, you know what I mean?
And it's hard because I think as a society we aren't programmed to think like that.
Yeah, 100%.
We come from that tall poppy syndrome, and it's you sort of see it your whole life. I can think back to loads of different moments in life when I can think back to loads of different moments in life when I try and do something, and people just try and drag you down, no matter what. Even if it's not to the, you know, and you're not putting yourself out there as much as this, but anything like little things at school you try and do, and people would, why are you doing, like, why is he doing that? Do you know what I mean? Like, why do you think you're going to do that? That sort of thing. And straight away it's that dragging you down. And so I think, and I always think now, I used to have that chip on my shoulder about it, but now I just think, like, no, people don't know better. No one knows better than to think how much further we could get if we all worked together and we all came up. But instead, people are trying to drag us down. But I think there's also I talk about it like a mental revolution. Like, there's so many more people opening their minds to this stuff.
And I think it's a matter of just it's you move with different people, you know, like the truth of the matter is in the whole world and every single person is going to think like that. So you got to, I think, shift the focus from that to there's a whole bunch of people that do exist that do want to grow and do want to do something about it. The difference is that it's much more limited in terms of that foresight and seeing them as comparing it to a whole army of people that don't, you know what I mean? So that's just, you know, you learn that, I guess, as you go out. But and again, it's a matter of how you shift your focus. You know, do you shift your focus on that, or do you shift your focus on that? You know, and like I said, I think everyone puts a timeline, everyone puts these things on it, but sometimes you just got to worry about, what do I got to do now? You know, otherwise that kind of train of thought of, you know, people getting involved can just kind of mess up your aspirations and mess up where you're heading, because it's like, well, you know, for example, even just with what I'm doing, like, you know, in my early 30s, like, when people usually say, oh, but I'm like, nah, fuck that. Like, I'm retiring from work and I'm about to embark on something that I'm truly passionate about. But you know, the argument is that, you know, it's time. Well, fuck, whatever I get to experience out of this, if I experience this at the age of 40, it's going to feel just as good as if I could experience it tomorrow, you know what I mean? But the difference is, I'll work my ass for it, so it's gonna taste sweeter, you know what I mean?
But also knowing you and seeing this change from you going from full-time work in a job you weren't passionate about, didn't really enjoy, to then doing this where, you know, at the moment, like, you're still in that growing stage, that building stage, but how much happier you are, and how much and you always brought positivity, but now it's like I can see that you're doing what you're passionate about and positive about, and the impact you have on the world is so much bigger now, and the ripples 100%. Get sent out.
And you wake up different, you feel different, and the thing is, end of the day, like I said, full time, what you're programmed when you're being like, you know, like me from, like, say 19 onwards, just full time work from Monday to Friday, you start to think like that's how life is, you know. And then, you know, I know we briefly spoke about how, like, there's days where I'm just sitting down plodding, twiddling my thumb, and you think, fuck, am I, you know, should I? But that's just how life, like, why can't life be like that? There's going to be days where, you know, you're going to be busier than others, but that's just, when you're doing what you want to do, that's how it's going to be, you know what I mean? So 100%. It's a matter of being comfortable with the fact that you are heading where you're heading. You just got to sometimes sit back and be like, fuck, I am doing what I should be doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just gonna take time, and it's gonna have its days. But there's always other things that I do. Like I was telling you, like, you know, I do a lot more reading now, or a lot more research. You know, but a lot of the things that I do now, where I get little satisfaction out of, you know, ticking certain goals, or you know, growing what I'm doing with certain jobs that are coming up, like. The moment that I've locked it down, I walk away thinking, "Fuck, I've accomplished something amazing." You get what I'm saying? And you're just like, and then you just walk away thinking, "Yeah, I'm on." You know what I mean? Like, you know, just like you know, just like what it's like when you're training. You know, it's like
when a fight's booked.
You know what I mean? It's different. You know, so and that's the mentality. That's what I loved when I fought and I trained. It was just that feeling, like that feeling of just like your self confidence. You feel like you're levitating. And that's what this gives me. It gives me that, you know. But no one's gonna ever understand the end goal. But the time will come. You know what I mean? Because if you love what you're doing, you're gonna be adamant about it. Everything else that you think, oh, what about this? What about that? It's irrelevant, because life is about living, man. It's not about what you have by the time you die. It's, are you doing something that's satisfying your ego and your soul, and you know that, you know what it is, your purpose. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, when you're doing that, everything else becomes irrelevant. You don't even give a shit if you're like, you know, driving this or driving that. It's getting up and saying, all right, I've got a podcast today, and I've got a shoot tomorrow, and I've got some filming coming this next month, you know. And it's slowly, you know. And going back to your career, man. So for those that don't know, what's kind of, I know that your aspirations is to be a professional fighter, and I know that some time ago you told me, you know, your aim is to try to get to glory. Tell me a bit about that, man. Like, is that still something that, you know, you want to try to be in the, I mean, not necessarily glory. The reason I'm saying that is the premier organizations, right? So you want to fight in the most premier organizations and promotions. And obviously glory in terms of kickboxing, K1 is, you know. You know.
I think, and it's, so like you said, that premier organisation, like I try not to put a cap on it. Like I try not to say, like, no, it's got to be this one, because then what if that one goes to shit? And then I'm like, that was my goal. So it's, I think, and it's maybe at first it was like having my sights set on sort of one place to get to, but now it's just to be like the best fighter I can possibly be, and whatever that entails, and whatever I think the right decision is at that time for that. And
the sport's growing. And who knows, by then, like, there could be other there could be a premier organisation in Australia, there could be New Zealand. I mean, end of the day, you want to go around the world fighting, ultimately, right? Fighting the best guys.
And that's the challenge itself.
That's the most important thing, you know. Everything else just kind of will follow through, I guess. And but yeah, man, so this fight coming up, you know, what's your mindset going into it? Now, I mean, you've had a few, I guess, you know, in terms of big fights. I mean, I guess just in terms of the stakes have been really high, and you know, I know we've spoken about it. You know, the more and more you go, the more the eyes are watching, and I think it's a great thing. I think it's you need the pressure of people watching as well, because I think it will lift you. So what's kind of your mindset now going into this fight in November? And you know, it's just, is it business? I mean, I'm sure it's business as usual, but is there things that, you know, you're kind of excited about, that you've been training, you know, drilling, that you kind of, you know, want to showcase? Or is it just polishing things that you've been doing? I mean, I guess you're always polishing. But
I think with every fight as well, like, I think it's just about just putting the best performance possible. Like, I never try and chase a knockout. Like, I'm trying to, especially at this stage as well, I want to have a good performance that I'm happy with. And I still don't feel like I'm showcasing when I fight fully. I'm not showcasing what it's like when I spar, or what I'm capable of. You know, like, I've been trying to get out and spar sort of like high level guys, and I've been getting like real good feedback from people about, and from their coaches and stuff, about sort of the level I'm at and what I can do. But I still want to make sure, I want to now make sure I can be showing that on fight night, and just show people like that there are levels to this. Because I just feel, and with me, I feel like I truly feel like there's not really anyone like me, like, in the game, like, in terms of, one, like my height, like the length of my legs, and just like I guess the dedication, commitment, stuff like that, but also just the athleticism for that side and the stuff I try and do. So I just want to show that full package.
Yeah.
And once again, I feel like now it's not for anyone else, it's for myself, to show myself that...
Well, you're the one drilling all the hours, and
exactly,
you're the one going through all the hell.
Exactly,
that's my thing. And I know we spoke about this even when, like months ago when, when I competed and stuff, and we had just a normal conversation about all people see is the end result. They don't see and sometimes you just want to show people the hell you've been through, so they can get a gauge and understanding that there's you got to really put your head down and be all in, and sometimes you want to showcase that because you're slogging away in the gym, and you know what I mean, and you just want to show people. So it's exciting, man. It's exciting. And well, yeah, man, I mean is there anything else that you wanted to kind of say to people? Or?
I think one thing that there was a younger fighter that he messaged me about it recently, and he said, I'm not sure if he'd lost a mate or something like this to mental health, but he just talked about like fighters that are getting mic time, especially after fights, or fighters that are get a bit of exposure to start talking about mental health, because I think obviously like social media, like you show like the highlights, all these different things, but like mental health struggles are real. Do you know what I mean? Like and obviously even what we've been talking about, we're talking about like how much we're enjoying our lives now, but we have days as well where you feel, you feel down in the dumps, or you feel like things aren't going your way. But it's just sort of just being like, I want to start putting out that message that like you can, one, create the life that you want through hard work, two, when you're struggling with things, like talk about it, and and three, I don't know if there's a third one, but you know what I mean? Like just putting a bit more light on it, and just showing that even fighters that are maybe shown to be, mentally tough.
Yeah. The whole bravado. Behind the whole bravado is really a vulnerable person sometimes.
Exactly. And everyone, and there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable. Everyone has their vulnerable times. Like everyone has their down times, has their sad times.
I think people need to understand as well when I hopefully have an interesting person coming on in a couple of weeks to talk about mental health. Awesome. And one of the things that me and her spoke about when we met up was that like she's lost people and to a family, like her sister and stuff, and one of the things that she brought up, she's now an ambassador. She's part of the Mental Health Commission, I think, for New South Wales or something. Awesome. From knowing nothing about it to because she was taking care of her sister. And one of the things she said to me, which really resonated with me, was, anyone that goes down that path, whether they end up being drug addicts, whether they end up abusing themselves or doing something stupid or whatever it is, right? Cut away the fact that they are drug addicts or whatever it is. It all trickles down from mental health. And her fight for mental health was the fact that they never had rehabilitation programs focusing on mental health. It's only
always about
it's whatever their end result was. So if they had like a brain trauma or had some physical disability or whatever it was, the focus was, we need to focus on that. And she's been fighting and advocating like for a long time for rehabilitation programs to focus on mental health. So if you can kill the origin, then you're gonna kill whatever the result is because of those negative results, which could lead to someone saying, fuck it, I'm gonna go get on heroin, I'm gonna go, you know what I mean? So mental health has always been there, and I know like she's from my community, so there's obviously, especially with a lot of ethnic groups, there's a stigma around it because it's looked down upon. And that's why I'm excited to have her on board, because it's not just relation to my community, it's in general there's a stigma around it, because it's just, people might think, you're a bitch because you know mental health. You might think that you're not strong enough. It's got nothing to do with that.
That's the main thing, I think.
Some of the people that are trying to do the most unbelievable things have to go through some shit feelings in their head, otherwise it's not real to you. There's days where you'll be like, man, what the fuck am I doing? This is gonna go anywhere. I feel like if you're not going through that, then you ain't doing what you want to do. You know what I mean? And I think when you love something so much, you have to go through days where you're like,
because you have those highs.
And
whatever.
But it comes down crashing. Exactly.
And that's fine, because I think having those highs and lows are good, but it's learn. The main thing is learning how to ride that wave, because if you can do that,
and be aware, I think too.
Yeah.
I think being aware of it.
Yeah.
I think sorry to cut you off,
No,
but I
absolutely.
think being aware of it is a big thing as well, because if you know that, like now, it's funny, man, you said that, because now I know when I have certain days, I'm like, it's all right, man. It's how it's meant to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now what I do, okay, fuck, all right, I have one of those days. I'm gonna go and research something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and sit and listen to. I like listening to audiobooks.
Yeah.
So I go and listen to audiobooks that can help me develop, grow what I'm doing, and have a better understanding. Look at certain aspects and be like, learn about it so that I'm prepared for it. So, but all those things make up what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? Like going and, there might be a day where you're just completely just researching, but that's going to bring you 10 steps closer to what you're trying to do, because you've allowed yourself to research. So it's just, you got to sometimes take a chill pill and just relax, and you don't have to always be physically doing something or whatever to feel satisfied.
100%.
Sometimes attaining knowledge or having time to attain knowledge or certain things is gonna, when the time comes, you're well prepared. You know what I mean? So
and I think and on that as well, I think it's also okay to not feel like you're doing something valuable towards your career or whatever your goal is all the time. Like, so I say almost every day, like I've been meditating for a while, but every day, like I'll have a time where I get to a point I'm like, okay, no, I need to relax. I'm overthinking this. My mind's, you know what I mean? I'm worrying about this. And literally all you got to do, sit down, close your eyes, big, deep breaths. And then you just realize that that's like, you almost breathe out your problems, or go for a walk in nature. And it sounds basic and simple, but those little keys, and just being able to know when, okay, no, I need to get up now. I need to take a big deep breath now. And you can sort of keep on top of all these things.
I've always told people, man, with meditation and stuff, which I'm a big believer of, is that it's funny, like you can go into meditation feeling negative, or even like say training and exercising, right? And then you come out of it and you're just like, man, fuck that. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same thing with meditation, come out of it and you're so confident in what you're doing. You're so confident that you're progressing. That's not coincidence. That sometimes you just gotta sit down, take some couple of deep breaths, like you said, close your eyes and just make peace with yourself that you are doing the things that you should be doing to get to where you're going. It's just that, it's funny, like when you're doing certain jobs, like for myself, when you're so used to doing full-time work, right? You see results straight away, or you got a task, and you do the task, right? And you're done, and you come home, you're like, I finished my task, and you go to training and whatever, right? That's when I'm in my element. When I go to training, when I was, when you're boxing or whatever it is, right? That's when I'm in my element. But that ideology and that method subconsciously carries on if you decide to, like, say after, like me, 10 to like 13 years of working full-time from like 19 years old, that's things in you. So it takes a few months for you to even just wash that off your back and realize that was my old life. That's what
validation.
Exactly. It's like, and you just subconsciously bring that into whatever you're doing. But sometimes you got to realize, hey, I've got the luxury of sitting here watching a documentary, and then I've got something coming up, and then something coming up, and then it's just that's just how it is, But I think when you come from that, you fear that, am I firing all cylinders? And it's the same method as fighting. You don't want to always be firing, because you're going to psych yourself out, you're going to burn yourself out before you know. It's like in our podcast today, yesterday I'm thinking, I got my podcast tomorrow. But then I'll walk away thinking, hectic, like I had a really good day. I had a podcast, I feel accomplished.
Exactly,
Put it out to the world to see, and it's like 10 steps. You've taken 10 steps instead of one step, And sometimes you just got to smell the roses along the way and be like, you know what, I am going where I'm going. It's just going to happen when it happens. It's going to take time,
Have faith in yourself.
Have faith in yourself, So, but just to close things off, man, what do you say to people that are, one of the things that I guess the messages I want to get across is that, I want people to understand that it's normal to fear your dreams and fear your accomplishments and what you want to do, and come outside the comfort zone. And what do you tell to certain people, I guess, that may be in that train of thought or stuck in that little vortex of, this is what I want to do, and especially for someone like you who just said you had your whole life planned out with a degree and your salary and like all that, and then you just completely did a switch kick to life. and
spinning
backwards to life. And what do you kind of tell people that? What do you tell them?
What do I tell them? I tell them, so with me as well, like I didn't do it all, just one hit. Like I wasn't. It was like a gradual
work in progress.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's, if you're sure you want to do something, start. Just start. You have your big goal, but then you need to set little goals that are attainable along the way. Because if your only goal is I want to achieve this, do you know what I mean? I want to achieve whatever it is. Say car race, I want to be an F1 driver, and you've never driven a car before. You're gonna, first day you try and do that, you're gonna think, what am I gonna, like? Where do I start? What do I jump in the F1 car now? No, you gotta have your little goals set out every day. So I think it's taking the time to just think about what you want to do with the rest of your life, and like what you would be proud of saying, and that's take away what other people are gonna say, maybe even your parents. Your girlfriend, your boyfriend.
Their version of what success is.
Exactly.
As well.
Exactly. Their version of success can be very different to yours. So find out what your version of success is, what you would want to do with the rest of your life. It was just up to you, and start working towards that. And I honestly think that, one, you're not gonna you won't regret it. Two, you're gonna find out so much about yourself along the way. Like that's probably the best part of the journey. Like you truly get to see who you are and what makes you tick, because you're working towards something that you want to do. So I think it's that, and it's like I one of my words recently has been relentless. So it's just being relentless in that pursuit of whatever it is, and whether that means you can be relentless by having a rest day, because that rest day might be the best thing you've done all week for your body. So just being relentless towards that goal and what you want to do, and you'll get there eventually.
And I always say, man, when you want to do what you love doing, it's never going to be easy.
Nah.
It's easy to do something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Because it's than when you want to do what you want to do. When you're purely passionate about what you want to do, it's going to be a mountain to climb. 100%. But that's the journey. When you get there, you're like, mountain to climb. 100%. But that's the journey. When you get there, you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna be at the bottom of the mountain. You know what I mean? There's another, there's the Widow's Peak there, waiting for me. And I think, nothing easy is ever gonna. Nothing that you want to do, that you're purely passionate about, that you want to achieve as your life's dream, is going to be easy. If it was, then everyone would do it. You know what I mean? Everyone would be able to do what they want to do. And I think you just got to realize that there's a lot of struggle in what you want to do, but the beauty is, it's unexplainable.
It's funny. There's a quote. It was from a poem that I studied in school that just popped into my mind as you were saying that, by Robert Frost. And it's something like, I'm not going to say it word for word, but it's like two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and in the end that's what made all the difference. Do you know what I mean? It's take the choice of taking that path that is safe because everyone's taken it before, but also the outcome is, what the outcome is. There's going to be no surprise along the way, but you take the one that isn't really travelled at all, and you're gonna be the one that finds out about that. You're gonna be the one that has all the surprises and has that exciting life. And look, maybe it's not for everyone, but for me, I know it was the right thing to do.
100%.
So,
Well, shout out, man. And for those that don't know, November 2nd, St. Mary's Band Club, Charles Joyner fighting for the WKBF. Australian title. My whole goal is for people to get behind, with the pro amateurs, just to give them identity so that we can help grow the sport as well. And you don't have to be a lover of fighting, but we can always get behind our countrymen and, people from, I guess our area, town, suburb. But my man, I wish you all the best, man.
Thank you.
I know that you put on a performance as usual, man.
Of course.
My man, thanks for coming through.